Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to pry open the gates of the Han Imperial Palace. But we're not here to look at the architecture. We're here to uncover the intense, backstabbing power struggles that would come to define one of the most powerful empires in all of history. You know, the Han dynasty controlled this massive empire, but the real battles, the ones that truly mattered, weren't fought on the frontiers. Nope, they were fought in the secret corridors and private rooms of the Imperial Palace. So you have to ask yourself, in a system that's supposed to be run by one person, who was really calling the shots? So to really get a grip on these power plays, we first have to understand the stage where it all happened, the Han Imperial Palace. This place was a world, a universe, all on its own. Yeah, this wasn't just a fancy house for the emperor. It was a high-stakes total pressure cooker. Being physically close to the emperor, being in his orbit, meant absolutely everything. And survival? Well, that meant you had to master a secret set of rules, where every single word, every friendship, was a move in a very, very deadly game. Okay, so let's meet the players, right? Who was actually competing for control inside this gilded cage? Now, at the center of this whole web, you have the Emperor, the Son of Heaven. In theory, his power was total. His word was law. But the reality was often a lot messier. Surrounded by these powerful people, cut off from the real world, the Emperor could easily just become a pawn. And his favor, that became the strings that everybody was fighting to pull. And this is where it gets really interesting. Two of the biggest factions were actually led by women. On one side, you had the Empress and her powerful family clan. Their influence came from her official title. But on the other side, you had all the other imperial concubines. For them, the only way to get power was a huge gamble. Have a son, and then do everything you can to make sure your son, not the Empress's, ends up on the throne. And for these groups, let's be clear, this wasn't about public policy. This was a family business, pure and simple. The end goal was absolute control. Winning meant you secured your family's future for generations. You do that by rigging the succession, stuffing the government with your own relatives, and basically turning the emperor into a figurehead for your family's ambition. But hold on, there was a third group, a real wild card in all of this. They were supposed to be just servants, but they often became the most powerful people in the entire empire, the court eunuchs. So here's the secret to their power, the thing that made them so unique. Because they couldn't have children, they couldn't start their own dynasties. And to the emperors, that meant they had no personal agenda. They were seen as completely, uniquely loyal. And that trust gave them access that nobody else had. They became the emperor's closest friends, his most trusted advisors. And they had a playbook, a masterclass in turning that proximity into pure power. Step 1, earn the emperor's personal trust. Then, you use that trust to become the gatekeeper. You decide who gets to see the emperor and who doesn't. After that, you become his eyes and ears, his personal spies in the court. From there, you build your own faction, and eventually, you could even help decide who the next emperor would be. And you don't have to take my word for it. A historian living at that exact time wrote this down. It just says it all, doesn't it? People back then knew exactly where the real power was. It wasn't with the guy wearing the crown. It was with the people who had his complete trust and controlled every piece of information he got. So you've got all this plotting, all this backstabbing. What happens when it all finally blows up? What's the real-world cost when all this palace drama spills out into the empire? The cost? Well, you can pretty much boil it down to a single shocking number: 9. That's right. In the final 150 years of the Eastern Han dynasty, 9 emperors came to the throne as children. And think about it, a child emperor is the perfect pawn, right? He's easily controlled by whoever's closest, which just threw gasoline on the fire of all this infighting. And the result was staggering. Just look at this chart. The entire power structure of the empire was flipped completely on its head. The eunuch factions went from being minor players to absolutely dominating the court. They had effectively staged a slow-motion coup, and were now the real behind-the-scenes rulers. And here's the ultimate tragedy in all of this. While all these factions were busy fighting for control of the palace, the actual job of running the empire just fell apart. This internal rot led to massive corruption, to chaos, and eventually to huge rebellions that the government was too broken to stop. The game to win the palace cost them the entire empire. It's a fascinating and Honestly, a tragic story. But why does this ancient power struggle still matter? Why should we care about it thousands of years later? Because the game played in the Han court is universal. These aren't just lessons about ancient China. They're lessons about power itself, period. It doesn't matter if it's a modern boardroom or a government office. The person who's closest to the leader, the person who controls the flow of information, that person has incredible power. And internal fighting, it's still the fastest way to tear any organization apart from the inside out. And that really leaves us with one final thought, a question to ask ourselves. When we look at our own worlds, at the centers of power that shape our lives, it's worth asking, who are the modern-day gatekeepers? Who controls the access? Who controls the information? And what is their ultimate goal? The names and the places might change, but the patterns of power, they're truly timeless.